All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with our mock draft of the week. And today we are doing this for the fourth time. So this is our mock draft 4.0. And we've done this a couple different ways. The first time we, you know, did a free for all with all kinds of trades. The second time we did it, we decided just to pick where the 49ers were picking and not make any trades. The third time, we mixed it up a little bit. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to do a mock draft, and I'm going to factor in the combination of their draft need, players that I like, players that I believe they like, based on all the intel and knowledge that we have. And I'm only going to make trades if I think the trades are absolutely viable, that they could actually be made in the real world. And I'm not going to do one of these trades where you trade one pick for 17 picks and this and that, because I just don't believe those trades actually are that realistic. So I'm going to try to stay away from the unrealistic trades, but I'd like to trade back at least once, maybe twice. I would like to wind up with a few extra picks because I think that will serve them well to have a few extra picks. Because to me, if you can, or like if you can move around within the draft and not necessarily get extra picks. So, for example, if you could move one of your third round picks into the fourth round, but then move one of your seventh round picks into the fifth round or sixth round, you could do that double kind of a move. And then basically you're just kind of trading up twice by trading down in the third round. You're kind of moving up and getting more picks, or not necessarily getting more picks, but getting, fewer seventh round picks and maybe some higher picks. So we're going to go through this. I know that right there was incredibly convoluted, just the explanation of mock draft 4.0. But here we go. Mock Draft 4.0. And for today's purposes, we've used Pro Football Focus, I believe. We've used NFL Draft Network. Today, we're going to use NFL Mock Draft Database Simulator. And I've chosen the Niners and 2023 7-round draft. We're going to go fast. And as far as what type of trading, free for all or standard, I'm going to say standard. And let's enter the draft room. All right, we have now entered the draft room. And up here, the orange go. And let's fire away. Start this bad boy off. And we're off and running. And Bryce Young went number 1 overall. All right. Now working their way down through, now we're in the early second round. Now we're in the mid-second round. Now we are approaching the third round. Now we're in the third round. We're in the 70s. We're in the 80s. We're in the 90s. We're getting close to our pick at 99, and we have arrived. All right, we have 4 trade offers on the table. The Colts have called saying, will you move down seven picks for their 5th and next year's 6th? I don't like that one. The Giants have called and said, will you move back from 99 to the 7th round? No, rejecting that. Tampa has called. They're saying, will you move from 99 to 153 in the 5th round? They'll give you a 6th and next year's 4th and 7th. I'm going to reject that. And Green Bay has called, and they want to move up to the 99th pick. They're offering 2 7th round picks this year and their 4th and 5th next year. I'm going to reject that. So here we are. We're gonna pick. We're at 99, and now we're going to look at the board. And what is, let's think about, before we look at the board, let's look at our needs. What are our primary needs? I would say offensive tackle, edge rusher, and probably multiple defensive backs. So maybe a corner, maybe a slot corner, maybe a safety. So let's check the offensive tackle board and see who's there. Wanya Morris, Nick Saldiveri, who's higher in this mock than he is in the other mock. Ryan Hayes, who they've looked at from University of Michigan. That's kind of an interesting one. Okay. those are the top tackles on the board. Not that impressed. I was hoping Blake Freeland would be there. He's not. Then there's talk that they may look at tight end. Let's look at the tight ends. Tucker Kraft from North Dakota State's there. Schoonmaker from Michigan's there. Brenton Strange is there. They looked at Cam Latu from Alabama. Josh Wiley from Cincinnati. Will Mallory from Miami. Davis Allen from Clemson. Payne Durham from Purdue. You can see why. Braden Willis from Oklahoma. These are all guys that they've looked at, I believe. And if you go further down the list, you'll see there's a bunch of guys on this list. So tight end is definitely a viable option here. Tucker Kraft might be a phenomenal selection here. All right, let's check the edge rusher class. There's Byron Young. There's Yaya Diaby from Louisville, who they've looked at and met with. KJ Henry from Clemson, another guy they've met with. The San Jose State star, Viliami Fehoko Jr., who attended the Niner Pro Day. He's there. It might be a little early for him, but I do love him. Jose Ramirez from Eastern Michigan. I love him. So Byron Young from Tennessee is the top-rated edge guy on the board. He's a little on the small side, 250 pounds. They typically go for 270-pound guys. All right, let's look at the corner list. Eli Ricks from Bama, Trevius Hodges Tomlinson from TCU, Corey Trice, a big corner from Purdue, Jacorian Bennett, I really like, from Maryland. Terrell Smith they met with from Minnesota. He's there. Okay. That's the corner group. Safety-wise, J.L. Skinner. Jartavius Martin is a really good player. Jair Brown's a really good player. Those two guys right there might be on the short list. The safeties, Skinner, Jartavius Martin, and Jair Brown. That might be where I'm going. Let's look at the D-line. The Niners always look at the D-line. Zach Pickens was a 5-star coming out of South Carolina. Moro Ajomo and Keandre Coburn from Texas are sitting there. So that's, and then let's just take a look at wide receiver. Marvin Mims is highly rated. He's there. If they wanted to go quarterback, Jaron Hall and Dorian Thompson-Robinson are right there. All right, well, I want to go tackle, but I don't see a tackle that I really want to take there. I really am leaning towards corner, but it's a tough call. It's a really tough call. There's not that player that's standing there. Isaiah Bolden from Jackson State, I think, is kind of a sleeper corner. It's a very difficult choice right here because there's not necessarily that guy staring you in the face that you say, you know what, they cannot pass on that guy. So let's go back to the all and see where the total board is rated. And they've got Tucker Kraft from South Dakota State as the top player on the board. Marvin Mims, who I really love a lot, wide receiver from Oklahoma. Wide receivers down the list. I love Tyjae Spears. I love Skinner. Love Mingo. Jartavius Martin. Pickens. Jair Brown. There's a lot of good players. Roshan Johnson. Big fan of Roshan Johnson, who Jordan Elliott highlighted on Niners Nation. Michael Wilson. Israel Abanaconda. Love Israel. All right, it's time to pick, and I'm going Tucker Kraft, the tight end from South Dakota State, highest-rated guy on the board. I think that's a no-brainer. Now, here's an interesting one. We have another. Now we're at 101, and this is the kind of move that I would absolutely look to make. The Texans have called. You got to remember this. There's a night between day 1 and day 2. And that's between the first and second round. There's a night between round 3 and round 4. So now you're sitting at the end of round 3. It's Friday night, and the Texans have called, and they obviously have a player they want badly that's on the board at 101, and they're asking you to move down 3 spots and offering you a 5, a 6, and 2 7s. I'm accepting that. How could I not accept that? I've got to accept that offer. So now I'm sitting at pick number 102. And do I go best available here? I think I got to go in the secondary. Let me take a look at that corner market again. Rajon Wright is a player that I really like a lot. Man, do I go to the edge rusher class? I think I am. I think I'm going Yaya Diaby off the edge rusher class. Well, let me think about that. That's a tough one. Let me take the D-line look. Do I go Pickens? I really love Byron Young from Alabama, but he's already gone. He's off the board already. Got my tight end. I don't think there's a tackle there that I really like. I could go corner. I think I'm going corner. I think I'm going to go Jacorian Bennett. So now I'm going Jacorian Bennett. All right, now I've got another trade offer, and I can move from 104 to 106 and pick up a fifth-round pick. I'm doing that. I'm absolutely doing that. So now I'm at 106, and I'm going to pick at 106. Let's take a look at the entire board. Now, J.L. Skinner's interesting because he's a big corner. Now, he has had an injury. There's Jonathan Mingo, who I think has potential to be a star. I've gotten a DB there in Jacorian Bennett, but I think my secondary needs a little bit more attention here. And I think I'm going to go Jartavius Martin from Illinois. I like Jartavius. I think he can play that slot. He's got corner experience. He can play the cover 3, the free safety spot. I need a good safety. I've now added a tight end, a corner, and a safety, and I don't pick until 155. And I think I'm done trading back, but I'll look at it. Dallas is called, wants to move up 15 spots, offering a 7th. No. The Giants have called. They want to move up 5 spots, offering a 7th. No. The Jaguars have called, offering two 6th-round picks. No. And the Cardinals have called, and they're offering move down 13 spots for next year's 5th. No. All right, so I'm at 155, and I can pick whoever I want here. Now, Diaby's still there. Schoonmaker's there, but I already got my tight end. Owen Papo is there. You don't need a linebacker, but this guy ran 4.32. KJ Henry's there. That's an interesting one. A lot of people like Wanya Morris. I'm not a big fan. Ryan Hayes is there. If you want that tackle, maybe you go tackle here. This is a tough one. Terrell Smith is a corner they looked at. Braden Daniels. Fehoko is an edge rusher that I really, really like. And he's right there at 171. He might still be there. Let's take a look at the quarterbacks. Clayton Tune, Aiden O'Connell. DTR's gone. Jake Hayner. Max Duggan's sitting there. I like Max Duggan. Let's go take a look at the wide receivers. Charlie Jones, I like a lot from Purdue. Bryce Ford Wheaton is big and fast. Raheem Jarrett's a good receiver from Maryland. Matt Landers, 6'5", and runs in the 4.3s. Elijah Higgins, Demario Douglas. Love Demario Douglas, but he's kind of later. Higgins might be a tight end I'm looking for later. All right, I've got to do something up front. Let's see what I got up front. Who's the best player up front? You got Coburn from Texas if you want to go two-gapper. It's not an awesome tackle class. I do love Dawan Johnson, but it's way too early for him. Let's go to the edge rusher spot. And you got Diaby, Henry, and Fehoko. And I say I love Diaby. I really do. I could go edge rusher twice here. All right, I'm going Diaby. I'm going Yaya Diaby. Now I'm at 161. I think I'm done trading back, so I'm going to reject that offer to move down. Now I'm sitting at 161. Who's the best player on the board? Well, let's see. Sean Tucker, I know, is a running back a lot of people like. Owen Papo is sitting right there, the linebacker. You got the next 2 picks, though. So basically, you can go 2 for 1 here. So I think I'm staying on the edge rusher, and I'm going Junior Fehoko from San Jose State. Really like Fehoko. Now I've got 5 trade offers for my pick in the 5th round. I'll reject Seattle, who's offering to drop down to the 6th round for next year's 4th. No. Saints have called, offering their 4th and 2-6 from next year to move off of this pick altogether. No. Buccaneers are offering a 6th, a 7th, and their 4th and 6th next year for this 5th. I'm going to say no. Dolphins are offering next year's 4th, 6th, and 7th for this 5th. No. And Washington is offering their 4th, 6th, and 7th for next year. I'm going to say no. Okay, so what have I done so far? I've got a tight end, I've got a corner, I've got a safety, and I've got 2 edge rushers. So I think, and you still got a slew of picks left, right? You got a bunch of picks left. You're at 162. You pick now, and then you pick at 164. All right, let's take a look at the whole board and see where the value is. Do you go tight end again, Schoonmaker? I don't think I can pass on the Auburn linebacker. This guy's got such speed. Owen Papo. They don't need a linebacker at all, but man, this guy is just a terrific athlete. This is one of the best moving players. He's so strong, so explosive. How do I pass on him? To me, that's a very special player. But Ryan Hayes, the tackle from Michigan, is sitting there. Cam Latu, Terrell Smith, Coburn, Nick Hampton, I love coming off the edge, but he's 235. And the Niners typically like 2 guys who are 270. There's Clayton Tune, Jake Hayner, Bryce Ford Wheaton, a burning wide receiver, super fast. This is tough. This one's tough. Let's take a look. I hate to say it. Let's look at a running back. Let's look at the running back spot. There's sometimes good value here. Any of the top-tier guys. I really love SaRodorick Thompson from Texas Tech. He's there. Dwayne McBride from UAB's there. Tavion Thomas from Utah is a hell of a player. Deneric Prince from Tulsa is a good back. Back is not a need, though. It's not a need. Demercado is one of the hardest charging backs I think I've ever seen. That guy's incredible. Doesn't have any moves, but he's straight line. He's like your ultimate short yardage back. All right, how about quarterback? Who's on the board? It's Clayton Tune. Do I go Clayton Tune right here? I think I got another idea on the quarterback. Let's look at corner again. You can never have enough good corners, and Terrell Smith from Minnesota is a nice one. And you got Rajon Wright. I think I'm going Rajon Wright. I think I'm going last chance you, Rajon Wright. To me, that's good value. He's got huge size. He could be a shutdown corner. He's the kind of big corner the Niners would really like. I like Rajon Wright. So now I've got 2 corners and a safety, and I've got 2 edge rushers, and I've got a tight end. So now I'm looking for the best player available pretty much the rest of the draft. I filled a lot of my needs. I still don't have a tackle. So let's take a look at the offensive tackle group. I think this is the spot right here. I think I'm going Ryan Hayes. Ryan Hayes is a good tackle, and you get him at 164, probably a developmental player. Okay, we have 2 trade offers for the 5th-round pick. Jaguars have called offering next year's 4 and 5 in their 7th. I'm saying no. And the Rams have called offering next year's 4th, 5th, and 7th for this 5th, and I'm saying no. So now I'm picking again. I'm at 173. Wanya Morris is still there, which is good value right here. But where's the best players? KJ Henry would be nice, but you already got a couple edge rushers. Charlie Jones, a good possession receiver from Purdue. I could go receiver here. Let's take a look at the receiver group. I like Bryce Ford Wheaton. He ran 4.38 at 220 pounds. I like Raheem Jarrett quite a bit. Landers, Higgins, Demario Douglas. I got my eye on Demario Douglas, I'll be honest. Darius Davis. I love Joseph Nada late in the draft. Probably going to scoop him up. That's Brandon Ayuk's cousin. They've been working out together in Rockland. I think that's kind of a sleeper pick I'm waiting for later. All right, let's go back to the D-line, see who's there. I think I'm going Coburn here. This is the replacement for Javon Kinlaw. This is the guy that allows you to either trade Kinlaw or move off Kinlaw in a year. So I'm going to Keandre Coburn, who's a gigantic 2-gapper. He's probably a 2-down player, but he's a lot like DJ Jones. I mean, I don't think he's quite as good movement ability as DJ, but there's a lot to like there. All right, now we're at 201. And let's go back to all. You still got a number of picks here. And you've now got a defensive tackle. You got an offensive tackle. You got a corner, 2 edge rushers, a safety, another corner, and a tight end. All right. So we're at pick 201, and we're going best player available. Tight end Latu, but you got that spot. Terrell Smith, you can never have enough corners. You can go with the top kicker if you want. They looked at Braden Daniels as an offensive lineman. He's interesting. Baldonado is an interesting guy, too. He's from Europe, and he's really, really raw as a pass rusher, but he's nice. Nick Hampton is flat out explosive off the edge, but he's a little undersized. Now, I think, do you go quarterback? Clayton Tune? Do you go Bryce Ford Wheaton? Will Mallory? Do you go tight end again? This is tough. Davis Allen is sitting right there. I like Malik Cunningham quite a bit. DJ Johnson, the edge rusher, they already worked out. Is this Marte Mapu time? This is a tough call. You're in the middle. You're in the 6th round here. 6th round, pick 201. I think I'm going with the Sac State kid, Marte Mapu. Wait, when's the next pick? The next pick after this is 216. Will Mapu still be there? Will the quarterback that I'm looking for still be there? These are all tough questions. Curtis McClendon is kind of an interesting offensive, or McClendon Curtis. His name's McClendon Curtis. He's interesting. He's playing guard at Chattanooga, but I think he could probably play right tackle. I like Demario Douglas. I like Darius Davis. Is a super burner. Ryland, the kicker's there. Very difficult. This is a very difficult call right here. It's hard to pass on some of these guys with great traits, but I think I'm gonna go with the football player over the workout warrior, and I'm gonna go Marte Mapu from Sac State. Now they list him as a safety, or they list him as a linebacker here, but he could play linebacker or safety. I think he's probably a coverage linebacker, special teamer, but I really like him. I think he's a difference maker. I think he makes the football team, so I'm going with him at 201. All right, now we're at 216. And let's go best available. Who's the best available? I'm looking at Clayton Tune right there. How do I not take Clayton Tune? Clayton Tune would be a hard guy to pass up right there. But I kind of have my eye on the kid from TCU who had such a phenomenal year. Thomas Incoom is a good rusher. McClendon Curtis would be another offensive lineman that I really like. At this rate, I think I'm probably going to go. Let's see what quarterbacks are there. Aiden O'Connell, Clayton Tune, Jake Hainer, Stetson Bennett, Malik Cunningham, Tyson Badgett. Oh, I missed out on the TCU quarterback. He's gone. All right, I'm definitely taking Clayton Tune there. All right, so now I have another quarterback. It's a defensive-heavy draft. I started with Tucker Kraft on offense, and then I went defense with Jacorian Bennett, defense with Jartavius Martin, defense with Yaya Diaby, defense with Junior Fajoko, defense with Rajon Wright, offensive tackle with Ryan Hayes, defense again with Keandre Coburn, defense again with Marte Mapu, and then I went quarterback. So I still have, 6 picks left because I moved back a bunch, and now I'm looking for the best player available, and I'm looking for kind of guys who I think can make my football team. 222. 202, pick 222. I think this is where you go for guys with some traits that you like. And let's see, is there any good running backs out there that potentially Roderick Thompson's there, and he's going to be there towards the end. Jordan Mims I kind of like. He's probably an after the draft kind of a player. Edge rusher wise, there's a lot of depth in this edge rusher class. Incoom, Tavius Robinson, Lonnie Phelps from Kansas, very intriguing. A lot of good players there. That's tough. Looking at the D-line, Dante Stills, I know they looked at him. Cameron Young's interesting from Mississippi State. I like Dawan Johnson from Toledo, and I want to make sure I get him, so I'm going to take Dawan Johnson right there. He's an interior guy who can play inside and outside. He's kind of like a jack of all trades. So now I'm going to go best player available. I'm now in the 7th round of this draft, and I've got best player available. So now it's like I have no idea who I'm going to take. I'm just going to take what I think is the best players on the board that can possibly make my team. Now, I don't, even though, let's see, where do I pick again? I picked 230 and 247. I think, I was talking to Brad Graham the other day, and we were talking about wide receivers. I said, give me a receiver that you just absolutely love. And he says Demario Douglas, and I agree with him. Demario Douglas has great stop and start, amazing stop and start ability. I think he's a terrific football player. So I'm going Demario Douglas. I still have 4 picks left. So let's check it out. Where is the best value on the board? There's not a lot of need. You're going best player available. Maybe what position could you look at? I mean, there's a lot of interesting receivers there I'm seeing. Incoom is a nice player. Dante Stills. I'm taking McClendon Curtis from interior lineman from Chattanooga. Just too talented. Too talented, too big, too athletic, too good of a prospect. He played guard at Chattanooga, but I think he could play right tackle. And he's 330 pounds with tackle length arms. So he's super, super exciting player. That to me is a steal. Let's look at linebacker. Mikel Jones from Syracuse, Charlie Thomas from Georgia Tech. These guys are really, really, really fun to watch. I'm going to go Tyrus Wheat, though, from Mississippi State. Now, they have him mislisted here. They list him as a linebacker. He's really a defensive end. He's another edge rusher, but I love him. Tyrese Wheat from Mississippi State. 260 pounds, 260, 265, something like that, on a 6'2 frame. But a great motor, terrific athlete. I mean, the guy flies around, makes a ton of plays. Love Tyrese Wheat. Very, very much a sleeper. And now we're covered. We got a lot of D linemen here. We got Tyrus Wheat. We got Dawan Johnson. We got Keandre Coburn. We had Fahoko, Diaby. So you've added some bodies up front. You've replaced Ebukam and Amenahue and Jordan Willis with some really, really good football players, I think. Some guys who can really, get the edge. Now let's go best available. We're at 255. We're at the very end of the draft. Now you're just looking for anybody who stands out on almost any position. Matt Landers is really intriguing. He's 6'5", receiver who runs incredibly well, runs in the 4.3s. Incoom, another edge rusher. Do you go there? Dante Stills, another D lineman. I'm going Elijah Higgins here. Elijah Higgins, and this is the Stanford wide receiver, but he's 230 pounds. To me, he could be a flexed out tight end. The Niners, I think at times have taken 4 tight ends, and Higgins, I think, would give Dwelly a huge run for his roster spot. So I'm going to go Higgins there. And now I'm at pick 259 at the very end of the draft. And let's see who's on the board, who's going to surprise us. At this point, we don't, Matt Landers is intriguing for sure. Staring us right there. Thomas Incoom, shocked that he's still there. Dante Stills, shocked that he's still there. You could go Darius Davis, but he's so kind of small. I don't know if he's a burner. You go kicker here. If so, you're looking at Chad Ryland. That might not be bad. Mikel Jones is an inside linebacker who fits their profile for sure. Love him. I mean, he's a tone-setting player. I could go Joseph Nada. I could go Antonio Mafi, the tackle or guard/tackle for UCLA. Lonnie Phelps, another edge rusher. A lot of people like Tyson Bagent, the quarterback. Not necessarily sold on him. Charlie Thomas, the linebacker from Georgia Tech, can fly. But you know what? I don't see anybody that's just absolutely jumping off the screen that you just say, you know what, that guy makes your team somehow. Scott Matlock, the D lineman, the ginger from Boise State, he's tough. There's no question he's a tough guy. That guy's tough. Noah Daniels from TCU, that's not a bad corner. Pretty far down this list now. Palszewski, the offensive tackle from Illinois. That's probably who I would go with here. Or Palczewski. I really like Palczewski. I like Roderick Thompson, the running back, but I think you could probably get a running back after the draft. I don't know that running back is really a need for the 49ers at this point. Tyreek Jones is interesting, the safety / slot corner from Boise State. He's a team leader. I think I'm going Isaiah Bolden, though, the cornerback from Jackson State, who's also a return man. Big guy, super athletic. That small school guy. I don't see him on this list. I'm going to look at the linebackers, but there's a guy who's not in this mock or not in this, not on the board at all in this thing that went to Albany State, a linebacker, Stephon Pierre, who I think I would probably use this pick on. He's a crazy athletic player who, for whatever reason, is not being highly thought of. But he's there. Now I know he's there, even though he's not. I don't see him here on this board. So I'm going to go Isaiah Bolden, cornerback from Jackson State. Big corner, super athletic, can be a return man. This guy's an intriguing guy. So there you go. That's the mock draft. The mock draft is complete. Hit save on that bad boy, and let's take a look at it. Started with the tight end Tucker Kraft out of South Dakota State. Then we went to filled, in a tight end deep draft. You got, I think, one of the best. Tucker Kraft is I think one of the better tight ends in this draft. I think you get a plug and play starter in Jacorian Bennett from Maryland who can play right away. Jartavius Martin is a free safety. I think can play off on special teams, but eventually he's a starter. Then you go Diaby, the edge rusher from Louisville, who I think is phenomenal. The production's there, the athleticism, the motor. Fehoko is just made to play for the Niners. I mean, Junior Fehoko, the conference defensive player of the year. He's 270 pounds. He's kind of nasty. To me, Fehoko is just absolutely going to fit in perfectly. Then you go big corner in Rajon Wright. You got an offensive tackle out of the Big Ten in Ryan Hayes. You got a big defensive tackle to replace Javon Kinlaw and Keandre Coburn. You got a special teamer in Marte Mapu. You got Clayton Tune as one of them. I think there's tons to like about Clayton Tune, the Houston quarterback. You got him late, 216th overall. But where this draft is really strong is at the very end. You're going Demario Douglas, who's got great stop-start. Dawan Johnson from Toledo, who I think can play inside or outside. He's a phenomenal player. McClendon Curtis gives you another big physical offensive lineman. Tyrus Wheat, another edge rusher. Elijah Higgins from Stanford could be a flexed out tight end. Isaiah Bolden from Jackson State, the corner, gives you another big-bodied corner developmental player. The only guy that I was looking for that I didn't get here at the end was Joseph Nada from Clemson. But you know what? I think you could probably lean on Ayuk to get him signed. I think Nada is Nagata, I should say. Some guys pronounce it Nada. He's Nagata. So it was the guy for the Ravens was Nada. This guy's Nagata. But receiver, 5-star prospect coming out of high school up in the Folsom. And terrific athlete. And it just never quite came together at Clemson. Had a couple injuries, just didn't, there's so much talent there. It just didn't quite come together. But that's a guy that I would love to see in Niner camp this summer. Joseph Nagata, the wide receiver from Clemson. But overall, good draft. You went, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 defensive players. So you added a ton to your defense in this mock draft. You start with the tight end, but you worked your way through. And as far as the quarterback, I kind of liked Max Duggan. He went somewhere around 200. So I went for Marte Mapu. I could have gone with Max Duggan there and tried to get Mapu at 216. Instead, I went with Mapu at 201. hoping that Duggan would fall to 216. He wasn't there, but then Clayton Tune was there. That was surprising. But of this, if I could do it again, if I could make any move, I would try to get Max Duggan out of TCU. I like what I've seen from Duggan in this whole back and forth through the draft. I think Duggan is a guy who's definitely has upside. I think he's got mobility. Look what he did at TCU. I mean, the guy's a tremendous leader. I think there's toughness there. Ultimately, Clayton Tune might be a little bit better player, so it's not a disaster. But I love the way the draft finished with Dawan Johnson, Demario Douglas, McClendon Curtis, Tyrus Wheat, Isaiah Bolden. All those guys are. I mean, Bolden, I'm not sure of. I guess Higgins. We'll see. I don't think Higgins might not be what you're looking for in either category. He might not be fast enough to be a wide receiver. He might not be physical enough to play tight end. But at that point in the draft, that's worth a flyer on for sure. But as far as the edge, I mean, yeah, you lost Menahue and Ebukam and Jordan Willis. But look what you're adding edge-wise. You got Tyrus Wheat out of Mississippi State who comes flying off the edge. Dawan Johnson, who's probably more of an interior guy, but he also can play the edge. And then you got Fehoko and Diaby, who both, I think, high motors, Diaby's very fast. Fajoko's 270. He's kind of nasty. So if this were the draft, now granted, I traded back a couple times, and I have more picks here than I'm sure most 49er fans think are going to make their team, but you know what? Depth is, great depth is a great thing. And look at the injuries. I mean, seriously, if you're a 49er fan, you're keenly aware that guys go down and guys get hurt. And you know what? Having incredible depth is one of the reasons the Niners wound up in the NFC Championship game. And after the offseason they had last year, if they have another draft like that, where they add a bunch of players, you're going to show up in Santa Clara with the most competitive, fast training camp in the entire NFL. And you may cut a few guys that wind up being pretty damn good. As far as looking back at this draft, is there anything that they didn't get that I was hoping to get? Well, I wanted to get a dynamic player in the backfield. And there's a few of them that I really like. I love Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina. I love Izzy Anabaconda from Pittsburgh. There's a couple running backs that I would have loved to have seen them invest in, but they don't need just any back. They need a speed back who can get to the edge pretty much at will. All right, that's Mock Draft 4.0. It started off with Tucker Kraft and finishes up with Isaiah Bolden. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning into the Krueg Show. We'll do another mock draft next week, Mock Draft 5.0. We'll do one more on the eve of the NFL Draft on Wednesday night. So we're going to have 6 mock drafts in all. This was Mock Draft 4.0. Thanks to our sponsor, Pig and a Pickle. Check them out in Corte Madera, open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And they're also in Emeryville, open Wednesday through Sunday inside the Emeryville Public Marketplace. Thanks to Damon and Mary, the owners of Pig and a Pickle, for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg Show.